Welcome to the lunation situation. We're talking about the new moon in Scorpio occurring November 1st at 12:46 GMT. This is quite a magical, interesting new moon because there are a lot of geometrical patterns going on in the chart. Now, Scorpio new moon is always, of course, about the spooky season because the sun is in Scorpio for since 9 days now. So this new moon occurs at 9 degrees and 34 minutes of Scorpio. So if you have any planet or point around 9 degrees of Scorpio, this is significant for you. New moons are, of course, always a beginning, a start, a fresh energy coming in, a new page, a blank page. This is where you can feel a new cycle starting. A new moon is always a 6-month cycle that is being born due to how the moon cycles work. So this is an excellent time for manifestation, for wishes, for rituals, and all that. New moons tend to be an energy where you want to do those rituals after the new moon occurs, and therefore, adjust to your local time zone. So what is Scorpio about? Well, it is a very deep, one of the most darkest signs and energies in the chart. It governs the 8th house and it is ruled by Pluto. It is the second water sign, so here we are diving very deep into our subconscious mind, into our psyche, our psychology, and we meet our fears, we meet our dark trauma, we meet, Scorpio is very good at pattern recognition. So here we can really put the finger on the spot that really hurts, that really triggers, that is very deep. It's because we are becoming, with Scorpio, less afraid. We are diving deeper. We are more intimate with ourselves and everyone around us. And it allows us to go below the surface, to dig into our secrets, into the unknown. And we want to know the truth. We want to move over the bullshit and get rid of anything that's toxic, that is disrupting growth, because Scorpio is a huge transformational sign, right? So it's about, in one word, the most extreme word you can use is death. And, that can be literal, but it actually means the cycle of endings, right? And every ending is ultimately also a beginning, is something that Scorpio shows us. It's very transformational. It's like, a butterfly cocoon kind of energy, but, also darker, like a phoenix, like being completely destroyed, and like an ego death, a death of self, a death of parts of self, having to leave things behind, having to let go of parts of yourself or experiences or people, because you have to move on, because you move into a new phase. And it's a deep healing, deep subconscious process. And again, as I said, it's about the secrets, it's about the fears, it's about, potentially even very karmic things, things we need to purge and heal through. And often, unfortunately, can also involve, with Scorpio, abuse, control, manipulation, some kind of force being used against you. And this can also be just energetically, but that's enough already. So, and yeah, so it involves, because it's a second water sign, a much deeper and higher awareness, and what it gives us, thanks to also the Pluto energy that, you know, rules Scorpio, it gives us a no bullshit filter. It gives us, like, you know, 20/20 vision, and allows us to see things that normally would be hidden, normally wouldn't be able to face. We wouldn't have the strength, we wouldn't dare. But with Scorpio and the Plutonic energy behind it, we are becoming more empowered. And so therefore, in this new moon, perhaps it's a chapter of a very empowered new you, you know, persevering. Perhaps it's a phoenix rising from the ashes, you know, from the destruction you left behind, from all the purging you've done from deep within, and perhaps you cut off energetic ties, and this is a new start of how to move on now. Strictly speaking, there's one aspect from the sun and moon, and that occurs to Saturn, who's at 12 degrees of Pisces, still retrograde. And this trine is an easy flow of Saturnian energy into this new, deep, intense, and intimate period of our lives. So what could that mean? You know, Saturn is about positively, because it's a trine, right? So it's a positive expression of Saturn. Saturn working positively means maturity, responsibility, leveling up, being more your true self, having some strong shoulders. Saturn gives us a seriousness, a focus, a devotion to achievement. So this is very hopeful and promising, because this new moon will then give us the strength, the daredevilness of being our authentic selves, and, you know, moving towards some kind of mastery, some kind of achievement that is not necessarily materialistic, because Saturn is in Pisces. So this could be a non-materialistic achievement. This could be something like emotional maturity. This could be emotional healing, right? This could be tapping into a higher intuition within yourself, or being more comfortable to be in solitude, to be in quietness, to be by yourself. You know, that's an achievement as well. Being able to have a stronger spiritual connection with the divine, the creator, whatever you believe in, so that it even enhances more the strength that you might feel around this new moon. So this is because it's Saturn, it's long-term goals as well. So it just gives us you know, the accountability, the desire for effort as well to make it happen. So that would indicate as well that any manifestation or ritual thing you want to do, this would be an excellent time to be really serious about your vision, about your, you know, what you imagine, what you believe in, because these are Piscean themes that Saturn is at, that really activates whatever you want to achieve and accomplish. It's a very fruitful ground, and it's really also a ground to, you know, really mature, and to catapult forward, because there is some kind of emotional stability about yourself. You know, there is emotional growth that is really going to help you with your desires, to making them real, because that's also very Saturnian, you know. Saturn makes it real, makes it, you know, tangible, touchable. And so it also brings longevity to whatever you want. So, you know, seems to be an awesome time for wish fulfillment, for manifestation, for whatever form of energetic work, because these are water signs, that will help you more than, you know, actual like physical hard work necessarily. So it's just about committing to your vision, to your imagination, to your beliefs, that is really going to help you. And there might also be a commitment regarding relationships, perhaps, because, you know, Scorpio is about intimacy, deep merging of two souls. It's the 8th house, right? It comes after the 7th house, which is about relationships, partnership, potential marriage. And the 8th house, you know, deepens that aspect where also, you know, the importance of sexuality but comes in, but it's really an expression of intimacy that is beyond sexuality. So you know, with the trine to Saturn, this could even be like really committed, intimate relationships. Why do I say that? Because the ruler, Pluto, is also making a trine to the South Node in Libra. And this is a very karmic purge of all the toxicity regarding behaviors and emotional patterns around relationships, or, you know, the dynamic of how two people get along, and how often, unfortunately, because most people tend to be unhealed, how that dynamic becomes so toxic and so you know, unfavorable. And this is an energy where we can really let go of whatever wasn't working in relationships, insecurities perhaps, you know, or you know, putting other people first, right? That's something we really need to move beyond, and really put ourselves first. It's also because Scorpio is kind of ruled by Mars, right? So, and the North Node is in Aries, which is kind of the ruler of Scorpio. So it means, yeah, you need to put yourself first. You need to regard your own needs highly. And there is a natural flow of release around this new moon of all the toxicity, of all, you know, dynamics and patterns that is holding you back from a very healthy, committed, long-term relationship that is filled with, you know, juicy intimacy. And then these both rulers, Mars and Pluto of Scorpio, are in a very intense opposition during this new moon. Mars is at 29 degrees of the Crab, and Pluto is right opposite at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And, you know, Pluto's direct and is rounding up a 250-year process of really destabilizing all that we have known to be solid systems. Who had a little vampire-ish thing going on here, very scorpionic. Yeah, so, you know, Pluto is rounding up that 250-year process of demolition of the systems that we have known to be stable and true, like, you know, politics and how we are ruled over, and military, and you know, but also very dark things, because Capricorn, where Pluto is at, is well, Pluto is also governing, right, the hidden, the dark systems, so potentially mafia and abusive situations, such as, you know, the need to end toxic masculinity and toxic patriarchal patterns, that, you know, sort of Me Too, the Epstein, and all that, and, you know, whatever's going on with the celebrities in America. All that is a testimony to Pluto and Capricorn that's really demolishing, bringing down everything that we have thought to be just and normal, and you know, I think it's interesting that in tarot, Capricorn is the devil card. And I think Pluto Capricorn really is a testimony to that tarot card. We're really seeing the very dark, devilish aspects of Capricornian themes, such as I said, politics, those in charge, the bosses, the CEOs, the hierarchy, the military, but also economic systems, right? And all that is just fundamentally wrong, or even like housing system and just everything, just how things are ruled over us. And really, if you just think about it for 1 second, none of it makes sense. Not the economic system, not the housing system. I mean, it is my opinion that everybody is entitled, entitled to a house. That is our fundament. This is what we need to have. That's what every human needs to have. It's what every, animal needs to have. So, I mean, if any animal wants it, it is so natural that a human wants it and needs it. And the fact that that is even like, that is difficult. Like there are situations where people can't get a house. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous also, in my opinion, that you have to pay even like rent. And nature is everybody's, and things are more free, or actually all things are free. And we are just filled with lies. And the system has been operating very successfully, I'll give them that, to make us believe in things. And people work 8 hours and more to pay that house, and then they're never in it, you know what I mean? Or they're very little in it, like things like that. Like a lot of things don't make sense. Taxes don't make sense, or at least not to the degree, to know that every rich person does not pay tax at all. So the system is corrupt, and we are, with Pluto, starting to see that. And thanks to the universe, because it's a cosmic situation, it is helping us to really see it, to break it down, because it doesn't serve anybody anymore. And we're moving to Pluto Aquarius, where things need to be more egalitarian, and people will demand the rights that they deserve. So moving into a whole different phase means that very Plutonic, very Scorpionic, things need to die off, need to end, need to change, need to, transform, metamorphosize. We need to alchemize all the dark energies. This is also, I also think about, in Pluto Capricorn being potentially also very negative emotionally, there's a potential for a lot of depressive emotions, a lot of pessimism that is thrown into the ether as well. We need to move through it, because the reality, which is ultimately what Capricorn rules, is very harsh, and it's very there are a lot of untruths about the reality that everybody has bought into. And also thinking about how Capricorn, because of Saturn, is about time. And I feel that time's up for that system. There's no more longevity to what we have known. And there's a big struggle of well, it's clear, the time's up. It's clear. It's even clear for those in charge. They know it even better, because they know astrology, right? That famous saying, like, millionaires are not into astrology, but billionaires are. So those in charge definitely know astrology. That's something to keep in mind as well. So, time's up. And the thing is, because those in charge know they have had their plans long time ago, and it's sort of up to us to also steer the wheel, because it seems like, you know, we are being steered and we are being put into situations and realities, but you know, you have more control. You have control over your own life, first of all, and you know, you are one part of the entire whole. So symbiotically you have an effect on everyone else as well. So just go into the micro level, go into your own level, and you know, see what is not working for you anymore, and just be very brutally honest about it. And uh, you know, be in the mindset that you really want to change that the time's up about certain things in your life as well. And of course, Pluto Capricorn being at 29 degrees is an indication in your chart about what specific thing is up for you now. You can see about what house, you know, where is that 29 degrees of Capricorn in your chart. You know, if it's the seventh house, it's about relationships. It's about your intimate relationships, but also your one-on-one. So anyone else actually really in the world around you. So it's quite a big thing. If it's your fourth house, something's up with your family, your housing, your, you know, the comforts, but also potentially childhood wounds that are being excavated by that Pluto. You know, if it's the 10th house, then there's something with your career. There's something about your public image that's completely, well, in a way being destroyed, but because it's building up a new you, which is more authentic, more true, more powerful, more real. So this opposition between Mars and Pluto is very significant because it's the ruler of this lunation. Both are. So there is a huge tension collectively. This opposition is going to go on long into 2025 as well. Spring of 2025, really. So we're going to have months of this intensity, this fight, this unfortunately war, this you know, confrontation between the Mars energy and between the Pluto energy. So, and that's, you know, Mars is about fighting, conflict, aggression, irritation, confrontation, not settling, you know, movement, wanting to change, wanting to do. And then on the opposite side, we have Pluto that's ready to destroy everything, you know, burn down everything, and, you know, call death basically, so that, you know, from that 0 point something new can be born, and that's hopefully better than before. And so putting these two together obviously is very forceful, very difficult, very powerful dynamic. And it means that the coming months are very crucial, and that it promises us complete endings, complete destruction, very difficult experiences that empower us to move through big changes, very big alchemical transformative experiences. We're kind of all being catapulted into a very dark shadow work field where we are confronted deeply with the subconscious field. And the subconscious field is part of it, personally, is your own trauma, your own experiences, your karma, and all that, you know, related to your family, but also past lives and all that. But the subconscious field that we're all like pushed into very strongly the coming months is also where there is like generational pain and trauma that's beyond your own lineage, that's like a collective trauma, you know, collective emotions, collective pain, historic occurrences, or repetitive cycles and cosmic things, a lot of stuff that we may not even be aware of. And when we're talking the energetics, because one is in the crab, Mars is in the crab, Pluto is in Capricorn, we have the crab Capricorn axis, right? And this is an axis of lineage, of family, of roots, of heritage, of ancestry, of DNA, of 7 generations. So obviously we're working with heaviness. We're working with a lot. We're working with a lot that is kind of unknown to us. Okay, we're not aware of how deep some things go, but we are made aware. You know, maybe you don't know why you're so sad the coming months. Maybe you don't know why things are being so crazy around you. But the reality, the truth on the higher level is that we're working through generations of issues. And I think it's a huge clear up, really. I think it's positive in the sense that we're working through something. We're moving through the darkness, and it's something we have to. We're being pushed. This is a cosmic fated situation. I think from 2025 things are changing a lot, and you know, there are a lot of doom scenarios, of course. There are a lot of, like, you know, AI is going to take over, technology, digitalism is going to take over. That's what a lot of people will tell you, which is kind of normal. When Pluto moves into Aquarius, we're going to see, yeah, the digitalization, but that's only one view, one variant. And you know, there's much more to it. And I think when you look at this opposition as well energetically, remember the crab and Capricorn, not only is it about family and heritage and 7 generations potentially, it's also there for very karmic. I have a feeling with all that's going on in the Pisces area with Saturn and Neptune, especially them coming close and moving together into Aries at quite the beginning of 2025, you know, the first, like, almost quarter of, so around spring of 2025 seems to be a very crucial moment in time. And I feel what we're doing here is actually writing off a lot of karma. Okay, we're like control delete, control delete, control delete in a way, except that it's not as easy as it sounds. It's something that we have to feel through. We have to have awareness. We have to accept some of the very trialing, difficult things that people have moved through. I have understood in my subconscious healing work that there is great power in just accepting things for what they are, just to see the raw truth. And that is very Scorpionic 8th house, to see that raw truth. And that first instant of seeing the raw truth can be painful, like the bite of a scorpion, you know. But right after, there's a huge relief, because then you experience the magic of Scorpio, which is a release, let go. So find a way to see what actually happened, to look at it like almost very objective, be like, oh wow, this happened. That sucks. That's terrible. That is so painful. Did my father do this to my mom? Oh my God. Did this happen to me? Yeah, that's terrible. But as soon as you accept that that is what actually happened, to not make it prettier, to not make it more dramatic either, it's just what it is. And then you're like, well, there's acceptance. And that is so powerful. That's how you release, that's how you free yourself up from the karma, from all these energetic ties. And I think we are being pushed to really deal with the karmic side, right? We're being pushed to go deep into the generations, into the heritage, and like what happened. And you know, Scorpio is that psychology mindset of being able to do that, being able to go that deep into the dark, into the unknown, into the unseen, into the ununderstandable. Like, how would you understand something that happened generations ago that you're not even aware of normally? But somehow during this period, we are made aware. Suddenly we see that grandma did this, and then your mom had the same, and then you had the same. That's kind of the energy, you know what I mean? I think you get the vibe, and that is really the intensity of Mars opposite Pluto that we're working with for many months. You know, all of us need to clear that individually and within our own lineage, within our own family. And then, you know, that's how we free up the old karma, the karma of 7 generations. Because I think my own theory is that from 2025 on, especially when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries, there's a whole new world where there's new karma, there's new a blank page, a tabula rasa, a white a white page that you are now able to write yourself. So it's a behind the scenes kind of stuff, but we will feel a lot of emotions because Mars is in the crab, and it will change everything that we have known to be true. It will change our views about what success is, what fame is, what rulership is, what hierarchy is and shouldn't be. So I was editing and I noticed that there were issues with recording, so I will continue with the second recording now. So this opposition between Pluto Capricorn and Mars the crab, as you can tell, will go very deeply. We will all face deep issues within the subconscious field, personally or collectively, and we will have to face the naked, gutted, raw truth. And as I said, it will be intergenerational. It will go as deep as we may not even understand, right? So I have a Mars opposite Pluto in my own chart, and I can therefore testify that it is a very difficult opposition because it requires constant change, and there's a constant push to transform very deeply. And the way that Pluto works, right, the scorpionic energy works, is that it makes sure that everything shifts, you know, kind of dramatically. Pluto has that plutonic atomic bomb kind of power, right? So it is very permanent, and therefore it rules death because that's quite permanent, right? Something has to die off. That's the Pluto demand. And the reason is to empower. So what is dying off is just unserving, is completed on a soul level, and you got the lesson, and now you're just so deeply excavating the issue. So you're getting rid of the debris, the energetic ties, anything left behind, any small little small little issue that can infume, that can inflame, can cause serious damage. So it is about clearing out by going very deeply within and through experiences. I guess it's important to say that Scorpio is generally also a very private energy, a suspicious energy. Okay, so you may want to keep close to yourself. And the reason why this Mars opposite Pluto is so intense is because it will require us to eliminate a lot of things, right? Dying off a lot of things. And this is, obviously very intense emotionally. So withdrawal, coming back to center, being introspective and making sure that you're transforming all of your emotions is important, is part of the process, because it works on an individual level and it will work on a collective level, right? So this intense opposition between Pluto and Mars will continue, but it's very strong during this lunation because these are the rulers of the Scorpio new moon. So that is also what tells us that the coming 6 months, as new moon is a new phase of 6 months, right? Is that there is a very intense Mars opposite Pluto 6 months. And that's true, that's accurate, because this will continue on into 2025, right? So what's so interesting is that this is part of a very magical geometrical pattern in the new moon chart. So it's like a red line moving through a kite pattern. So this opposition is the base, and the kite points to Pluto and Capricorn. So there's an energy of taking off, of liberation regarding once we eliminate, once we get rid of, once we demolish what doesn't serve anymore, what's toxic, what's abusive, what's a lie, what's causing harm. Once we get that out of the way, obviously we will take off. We will take off so fast. We will, achieve what we really want to achieve, which is ultimately Capricorn. Like, what do you really want to achieve? It has to be authentic. It has to be true. It has to, it has to be a legacy that will benefit not just you, but many. And so the base of the kite is actually a grand water trine involving Mercury in Scorpio at 28 degrees, Neptune, who's retrograde at 27 degrees of Pisces, and then of course this Mars at 29 degrees of the Crab. So a grand water trine means that things are being washed out, being washed away effortlessly. It can mean enhanced emotions. So, crying it out. It is also important during this lunation to work with the water element. So, having detoxifying baths, somehow using the water to detoxify your body. Think about what you can do with the water element to work with that ritualistically, because it will have a huge benefit. It is about letting the emotions, the energy, which is emotions, right, to move through and out of you. And this base of a grand water trine gives us the power that things are easily moved through. And so this could also bring in very heightened intuition, which is great. Heightened intuition, psychic skills, you know, hearing the unspoken, seeing beneath the lines, behind the scenes is the Scorpio energy that is involved here too. So it just means that we're seeing more, we're understanding more than usual, you know, than maybe ever before. And so Mercury being here means that our mind is very detective, right? Is very psychic, is very, you know, excavating deeply. We're easily going into the depth, you know, with our mind. Our mind is very oriented on finding the raw truth of looking behind, you know. Our intuition means, you know, we're receiving information correctly. And Neptune being here in the trine would indicate to me, because it's retrograde, that we see through the bullshit. There are no lies anymore. We can see the crap. We can see the deceit. And so, you know, there's a very strong, enhanced mindset going on, you know, an upgrade into. It also means we have to be very careful of our thoughts and our words and understand that we are in a very creational time as well. And how creation works, how manifestation works, is through imagination, through holding the vision, of believing in it. And that's where Neptune kicks in. So, and why is Mars involved? Because this is our motivation to make it real, to make it happen, you know? So there is emotional strength, there is emotional ease, and it helps with the purging, the detoxification, moving through issues, events, experiences, and energies. Yeah, that kite is pointing to Pluto, and that will be a very important release point, takeoff point of a new, empowered, strengthened self, but also hopefully an empowered, strengthened collective world that we will be catapulted into within 6 months. And then there is another kite in this new moon chart. So that's quite interesting and pretty rare to have two kites. The second kite involves this same Mercury in Scorpio, except this time Uranus is opposite in Taurus at 25 degrees and retrograde. So the second kite points to Uranus in Taurus. Now this is interesting. So there's also a release regarding, you know, liberating ourselves, breaking free, doing it our own way regarding our finances or, you know, pleasures of life, of relationships, of what we find essential in life, to be true to ourselves regarding that. And so there is a bit of a clash between perspectives here, with Mercury being the lower mind and Uranus being the higher mind. So, you know, we do have to keep our perspective high, because the things we want, the dreams we have, right, are so vast, so require leveling up, and therefore we need to level up our perspective. We need to level up our thoughts, our words, our actions, everything. And so Uranus tells us that there is also great potential in breaking free and changing our earthly life, our earthly reality. And there's a lot about finances, because Scorpio is also about finances. There are interestingly 3 oppositions in the chart. I talked about the Mars-Pluto one. That's very powerful, very intense. And then I just spoke to you about the Mercury opposite Uranus, challenging our mind, challenging our ideas, our concepts. But then there's another third opposition between Venus and Sagittarius and Jupiter, who's retrograde in Gemini. Now, this Venus, our feminine side, is very flirtatious, very outgoing, very adventurous, wants to travel the world, be carefree, learn. It means that, we might be less responsible regarding also our finances. This Venus Sagittarius also demands a freedom, a breaking free, just like that Uranus energy as well. That's part of the second kite. So both are about finances as well. So maybe we want to find new ways of finances that is more easy, that's more pleasurable, that's more more fitting to who you are. The Jupiter in Gemini is very healing of our mind, our mindset, is that energy that, we reflect on our thoughts, ideas, our words, and how it impacts, our creation, our manifestations. So if we want to live this more free, adventurous, wanderous life that Venus cares for right now, then we need to work on how we think. We need to heal our conscious self. And interestingly, this Jupiter is also sextiling exactly Chiron in Aries, who's also retrograde at both at 20 degrees. So this means that, we are healing our insecurities. We are now ready to really prioritize ourselves, to put ourselves first, to know who we are and to know what we're worth. So I feel this deep healing energy is how we can break free on other levels. This reminds me of like how many of us say we want, a great loving partnership, but do we understand what is required to be in a loving, a really healthy, loving relationship? It requires to level up on many, different aspects. We need to, first of all, be able to love ourselves and care for ourselves, nourish ourselves. We need to be able to put ourselves first. And so we need to level up also of how we think of, the words, the creational power of our words. And everything obviously is involved to level up, to have a higher perspective, to be able to truly heal so that you can have loving, honest, respectful relationships. We just want to be careful with this Venus in Sagittarius that, our need to be carefree is not translated as irresponsible, because it's also squaring Saturn, who's involved with this lunation, right, favorably. So I've had quite some technological issues, recording this video, so maybe that's part of what we might experience, strangely, during this lunation or the coming 6 months. So, there's the technological issue. There is also a square from this lunation, so the sun and the moon in Scorpio, to Pandora in Leo that I noticed. And, Pandora is the Pandora's box. So maybe things are opening up like a vault, a secret box of very big lies, information that, might be very destructive to many, many systems, authority systems, ruling power. We are challenged in many, many aspects, obviously, for the coming months. But you know, I am hopeful about this new moon in Scorpio. I think it's very promising, especially on a personal level. And ultimately, personal is the collective level. So, you know, as long as we take the responsibility to heal, to be focused, to create what we really desire, to look very brutally honest at what is up, what is wrong, what needs to change within ourselves, around us, then we are on the right track. And I think also with, you know, Mercury involved and Uranus being involved, there might be a lot of information coming from the news and all that that, you know, is trying to um, disrupt our process. So don't believe everything you hear. Believe in your own information flow, and be suspicious like any Scorpio would be, and, you know, level up, higher perspective. And let's transform into a more powerful, healed person that can face true, real intimacy. And you know, let's become like that butterfly from a, you know, little insect cocooning and becoming a beautiful butterfly, flying out freely. So spread your wings and it's time to rise. Have a good new moon in Scorpio.